Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a beautiful, fine morning in Dallas, Texas, and I am documenting the dewdrops on the ground. And I wanted to open up a discussion panel about why dewdrops are formed in the late evenings of nighttime only. And the question is, why do dewdrops only form on the ground or on top of your car or on the tree or something in the wee hours of night, never in the day? Well, it's day now, the sun is coming up now, but now the sun is out and evaporating all this dew. And I wanted to talk about why this is happening. But most people don't know this, they're not aware of this, but let me go over here for a second. Now on this side of the grass, oh, here we go, we got some mushrooms, fungus growing amidst the dew. Fungus, okay? We got a little bit more dew there, but I want to share something here. This section right here is in the shade. And the dew is kind of going away. Okay. Over here, we're still in the shade. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, but I'm reading some definitions on dew, and we got dew still in the shade and dew in the sun. While I'm filming this video, I'm gonna document which one evaporates faster, but I suspect it's going to be the one in the sunlight. But first I want to talk about dew. So this is also pertaining to the whole flat earth versus globe earth discussion. And in the flat earth model, we are proposing or aware that the moon is its own light. The moon is its own source of light, and the sun is its own source of light. The moon is not reflecting the sunlight, because if the moon was reflecting the sunlight, the moon's light that we call moonlight would have the same properties of the sunlight. So if the moon is reflecting light of the sun, it should be evaporating the water at night. So there shouldn't be any dew forming. You get that? There should not be any dew forming at night. So, scientific experiments and tests have found, and I've done this many, many times, and I will post the link to my experiment, my blog, and my video in the comments. I will show you my experiment. And many, many flat earthers have done this. I guarantee you the majority of globe earthers have not done this, but you take a temperature of the moon light on this side where the light is shining on the grass, on the ground, versus the temperature of the moon shade. So right now, if I took a temperature of the sunlight in the light, the temperature would be hotter than in the shade, right? Everybody knows that when you're hot outside in the summertime and you want to cool down, what do? You find the nearest tree or shade and you sit under the shade because it's cooler. All right, basic common knowledge. Well, guess what? At nighttime, I bet you most of you don't even know this, in the moonlight is actually warmer in the shade and colder in the light. So what that means is when it's cold outside, I would still go under the shade because the shade would make me feel warmer. All right? And the scientific evidence for that is in the fact: observable, testable, repeatable, verifiable, demonstratable, measurable evidence. You guys need to learn those definitions. The definition of evidence is that which can be proven empirically. That's no denying it. That's testing it. Forming your conclusions based on the actual results of the experiments you've personally conducted. That's evidence. I can see dew. I can test it. I can experiment with the moonlight versus the sunlight. So the moonlight is cooler than the sunlight. So I'm going to tell you four differences between the moonlight and the sunlight. Here you go. The first difference is the moonlight is a dim light. It's a dimmer light. It's not bright like the sun. Although on some full nights it will seem really bright. However, a comparison to the sun itself, you're not going to light up the whole side of the earth that you're on with the moonlight, but it will be pretty bright out at night. But the light is dim, moon's light is dim, and it's a white light, a blue light. The sun's light is hot. I'm sorry, the sun's light is opposite of dim. It's bright, it's powerful, it's really, really energetic, right? So the fact that it's bright and the moon is dim, those are two opposites right there. There's a second one. The second difference is the moon's light is cold and the sun's light is hot. And you can test this yourself, like I just said, with the shadows and the shade. It is hotter in the sunlight than it is in the sun shade. Opposite, the moonlight, it is cooler in the light and the light side than it is in the shade side. And this is, you can test this yourself with any thermometer or any type of heat gauging sensor, temperature gauge. I did it myself with a Fluke. It's a thermal imaging gun, so it's a little bit more highly advanced than just some kind of a laser thermometer or something like that. But there's multiple ways that you can test this, multiple. And you got to do it yourself. Test it with any kind of thermometer you want, any kind of conditions you want. You know, some people have done aluminum foil pans so that the material that they're testing on the shade versus the light is the same material. So if you're going to do the test, you've got to do it both on the grass. You've got to stay away from the trees, though, when you're doing the thermometer experiment, because the tree has a root system. So you want to just get the top of the ground, and the top of the ground is most certainly going to tell you how warm or how cool it is. And you will most definitely get a warmer reading in the light and a cooler reading in the shade when it's daytime, and vice versa. You'll get a cooler reading in the light and a warmer reading in the shade in the moonlight. So that's two. The third difference between the moonlight and the sunlight, remember, first was the moon is dim and the sun is bright. The second is the moon is cold, light is cold, and the sunlight is hot. The third one is that the moon is moistening, putrefying, and the sun is evaporating. So this is obvious. Everybody knows that the sun is evaporating water. As evidenced by, you can prove that yourself by leaving a puddle of water outside on your driveway and the sun evaporates it. Everybody knows this. But I bet most of you didn't even know the moonlight does the opposite. And that is evidenced by us seeing this dew right here. Now you may argue real quick, you may make the argument, oh, well, how do you know it's the moon? What if it's just nighttime and not the moon? Well, reading up online about it, there's articles about it that talks about it. And I'm going to make a very interesting point that I haven't heard any flat earther or anybody say yet. But online, the article I read this morning brought up something to my attention that I have never considered. So in the sun day, the sun is heating up the concrete, right? The sun is heating up the concrete, and the concrete is really hot. So anybody that's ever driven on a highway, on the end of the highway, and when you're looking down, you can see like a heat waves. You know, like you know what I'm talking about? Like you can see a mirage in the distance, and you look, and you could it's almost like the pavement is cooking things in the distance. And you'd have to do this on a highway or some hot asphalt or pavement. But what the article is saying is that the concrete is so hot that it's heating up the molecules in the air, the water molecules. Oh yes. And let me go ahead and get something. I'm going to turn this camera down now. What's up? This is Miguel, and another awesome flat earth content video for you guys of empirical evidence, factual based knowledge. Let me go ahead and get back on my porch here. I'm drinking my organic Sumatra dark roast coffee with my almond milk French vanilla flavor. Delicious coffee. Yes, I am the father of the year. Lovely gifts my beautiful wife gave me. Star Wars, yes. We all love Star Wars. But that doesn't mean space is real. Anyway, so let's back to the conversation. So the asphalt, the ground is heating up when the sunlight and the air molecules heat up. All right, so I took that knowledge and I started thinking about it, and I came up with something. I had an aha moment. Check it out. So there are water molecules in the atmosphere, and you globe defenders, globe supporters, you need to get that through your thick skulls. You need to get that in your head. You need to understand that there is water molecules that I am breathing right now in the oxygen, in the air around me. It's full of water molecules, right? It's what makes the clouds. It's what makes the clouds above, right? All these clouds are in the sky evaporating the water, and then they get heavy and thick, and what happens? They get too heavy, too dense. The density of the water becomes too thick, and therefore it begins to be released from the medium, which is the sky. The medium that surrounds the mass is less dense than the mass that it rests in. So this mass is water molecules in the gaseous body of the atmosphere. So it's very thinly sparsely spread, light, buoyant water molecules in the sky. And as I said, when the clouds get dark and black before it rains, or when it rains, it is because it is so dense and it can no longer be held in the medium of the sky. And the rain falls down. So between the earth and the clouds, there is most certainly water molecules in this space right here. When you look out in the space above you, you think there's nothing there because it's invisible. I can see that house in front of me, therefore there's nothing in between me and the house. Absolutely false, because just because you cannot see it doesn't mean without when you get a microscope and you just like look really closely into the air right here in front of you, you will definitely notice there are water molecules. You can test this. There's plenty of tests out there that show it, but here's the point I want to make. So when the water evaporates, goes up from the ground into the sun and into the clouds, this is happening when it's sunlight outside. This is only happening when it's sunlight outside. The ground itself becomes too warm to hold any water. So any water that is standing water will be evaporated up. Check this out. In the moonlight at nighttime, the ground is cool. The water in this medium becomes cooled and starts to form into dense water droplets. So something about cooling and making objects more dense. So I theorize, I'm going to postulate, I'm going to propose that it is the cool air and combined with the moon's light that is causing the water to pool together and to form into dewdrops, into a dense pool of dew. And when the heat comes up, when the sun comes out, the water molecules expand like a flower, expands to the sunlight, and the sun heats it up, and the heat, like a hot air balloon, hot air rises, and the dew or moisture rises into the sky. You get that? So the moon's light is causing the dew. The nighttime, it could only happen at nighttime. Throughout this day, in the next hour or two, the sun is going to evaporate all of this water. Okay? All right, so moving on to the fourth difference between the sun and moonlight. I'm having a little brain fart here. So we got the moon is dim, moonlight is dim, sunlight is bright. Moonlight is cold, cool, sunlight is hot. Then we got moonlight is putrefying or moistening, and sunlight is evaporating. It sucks up the water. Okay, it dries things out. In the moonlight, you can set a piece of meat out in the moonlight and it will mold faster. If you set a piece of meat out in the sunlight, it will dry up faster. Here's another thing about the mold. Why do mushrooms only form in the wee hours of the night and into the morning? You will only find mushrooms that form at night in the wee hours of night. You will never find a mushroom form just by the daylight itself, just by the sunlight. You won't ever find that. So there's another proof that the moonlight is putrefying. It's creating fungus, mold. That's what it does. Okay, the fourth difference between the sun and the moon's light, I think I lost it here. So the moon's light is a blue light, is a calming light. It's calming at night. The sun's light is energizing, activating, it's nourishing, it feeds us. And that's why, like I said earlier, the flowers close up at night and they go to sleep. The moonlight is calming. It's a calming energy, and that is why we sleep at night. But as soon as that sunlight comes up, the flower blossoms and everything wakes up to the sky, because the sky is energizing us and we are being fed nutrients in the day. That is why we go to sleep at night. We go to sleep to rest, to be calm. So that is my fourth evidence of the differences between the moonlight and the sunlight. We all go to bed at night, most of us anyways, unless you work at night. But there's a reason why at night you feel more relaxed. You just want to chill out. You want to just lounge around, lay down, snuggle up, go to bed, all that good stuff. That happens at night for a reason. There's an energy behind that. So the moon's light is calming, the sun's light is energizing, activating, feeding. It wakes us up. We get up in the morning. The roosters wake you up in the morning. The birds, everything starts to sing in the morning, right? Guess what? Another thought that just came to my head. The sounds of the day change. The birds are singing in the day, right? The roosters, the birds, the animals are making the ones that are daytime creatures. Guess what? The nighttime creatures come out as soon as the sunlight goes down. If you live on a farm, or you live in the country, or you live by a pond of water, you notice there's like a DJ playing. It's so incredible to me. It's like God is a DJ mixing the nighttime sky into the daytime light, or vice versa, the daytime into the nighttime. It's like a DJ mix, and it's mixing, and not only the visuals and everything, the energetics of the whole day to night transition, the sounds, the animals that wake up at night, the frogs, the amphibians, right? The insectoids, the grasshoppers, all of these are water night amphibians, right? So those sounds start to croak at night. Rah, 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 ribbit, ribbit, all the frogs and stuff. So that was just another idea that just came to me, the difference between the night and the day. So there you go. There's my testimony. There's my breakdown of the whole dew issue. So my question is to you Globe Earthers, why do you think the dew forms at night? And what experiments have you personally done to prove that point? Thank you all for watching. That's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and link to the comments of my previous experiment about the moon's light versus the sun's light, and also my own blog, the experiments and revelations and observations that I made myself. Remember, scientific evidence is that which can be proven. It is factual information. It is knowledge about a certain topic or thing happening in our reality that is based on our hypothesis, our experimentation, observations, testing, and forming conclusions about the hypothesis. You go back and retest it again into different variables, and you continue to test the variables until you weed all the things out that aren't true, and you come to the most knowledgeable consensus of what is a fact. scientific evidence, that which can be demonstrated, measured, verified, and observed by the human senses. Thank y'all for watching, and don't forget to join the official Flat Earth versus Globe discussion on Facebook, led by Nathan Thompson. This is Miguel again, once again, with another awesome Flat Earth content. Stand by for my next video, Belief versus Knowledge. I'm going to break it down for y'all. Peace. Luke, I am the father of the year.